My mother didn't rush to help me when I hit the floor. She looked down at me and said, "You must have pushed him again." I tried to sit up, but my arms failed. Pain tore through my lower back, sharp, deep, wrong. This wasn't the kind of pain that faded if I stayed still. Marcus stood in the doorway, smiling. I'd been hurt before, too many times to count. But even as I lay there, gasping for air, one thought terrified me. This time, my body isn't bouncing back. I'd come home to help my parents pack the house. Boxes everywhere. Old memories nobody wanted. The fight started over something stupid, a box of Marcus's old trophies. He hadn't touched them in years. When he saw the box, his face changed. Before I could explain, he shoved me into the wall. My spine hit hard. Something inside me shifted. My legs gave out and I collapsed to the floor. From where I lay, I heard my mother sigh. "Emma always knows how to provoke him." My father finally appeared. He didn't look at me. "Just apologize," he said. "You know how important those trophies are to him." Marcus waited. I'd apologized my whole life. When my finger broke, when I fell down the stairs, when my hand got slammed in a car door. Every time they said it was my fault, so I whispered it again. "I'm sorry." Marcus nodded and walked away. My parents followed him. They left me on the floor. The pain didn't ease that night. It settled in heavy, sharp, unmoving. Every small shift sent warning signals through my back. By morning, standing felt risky. Wrong. When I told my mother, she said, "You're being dramatic. He barely touched you." For a moment, I almost believed her. Then I tried to stand. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. I made the appointment myself, a spine specialist. Same day, when I told my parents, they panicked. "We don't need outsiders," my mother said quickly. That's when it finally clicked. They weren't afraid for me. They were afraid of what someone else might see. A few hours later, a doctor would look at my scans and say, "This didn't happen once." The waiting room smelled like disinfectant. I noticed it immediately because pain had sharpened everything. The chair felt too firm. The lights too bright. Every small movement sent a warning through my back. People around me flipped magazines, checked their phones, laughed quietly. Life went on completely indifferent to the fact that I was terrified I might not stand up straight again. At the front desk, the receptionist slid a clipboard toward me. "Reason for visit." I stared at the line longer than I needed to. "Back pain," I finally wrote. It felt like a lie. When the nurse called my name, I stood carefully. Too carefully. My legs trembled and I had to grab the chair to steady myself. "You okay?" she asked. "I think so," I said. It was the answer I'd been trained to give. In the exam room, she asked me to rate my pain. I hesitated. I didn't want to exaggerate. 8, I said quietly. Her pen paused. "And how did this happen?" The question landed heavier than I expected. For years, I'd practiced safer answers. Accidents, clumsiness, my fault. I opened my mouth and stopped. "My brother shoved me into a wall," I said. The words felt solid, irreversible. The nurse didn't react. She just nodded and wrote it down. When the doctor came in, she didn't smile. She asked me to stand. I tried and nearly collapsed. Pain tore through my back, sharp and immediate. "That's enough," she said. "Don't push." She didn't reassure me. She didn't downplay it. She ordered X-rays and an MRI. Inside the imaging machine, doubt crept in. Maybe I really am overreacting. The pain corrected me. When I was wheeled back into the room, my phone buzzed. "Mom, where are you?" "Dad, you need to come home before this gets out of hand." I turned the screen face down. The doctor returned and stood near the screen. She didn't sit. "Emma," she said carefully, "what I'm seeing here won't stay private." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" I asked. She didn't answer right away. "We need to talk about your scans," she said. "But before we do, you should understand something." She paused. "Once I explain this, things will start moving very quickly." I walked into the hospital afraid I was imagining things. I was about to learn the truth was much worse, and that my family no longer had a say in what happened next. The doctor didn't start by explaining anything. She pointed at the screen. At first, it didn't look like my body, just shades of gray, lines I didn't understand, gaps where I didn't expect them. "This area here," she said, tracing a section with her finger, "isn't recent." I swallowed. "What do you mean?" "These are older injuries," she said. "They healed but not cleanly." She adjusted the image, zoomed in. This pattern only appears when the spine absorbs force repeatedly. Over time, the room felt smaller. I stared at the screen, trying to match what I was seeing with the stories I'd told myself for years. "So," I said carefully, "I didn't imagine it." She looked at me. "No," she said, "you didn't." The words landed quietly, and they stayed. She changed the image again. "This injury is new," she continued, "and it's severe." "How severe?" I asked. She paused. "If it hadn't been treated," she said, "there was a real risk of permanent nerve damage." Permanent. I thought about all the times I'd been told I was fine. All the times I'd walked it off. The doctor set the tablet down. "There's something else you need to know," she said. "I'm required to act when imaging shows ongoing abuse." My chest tightened. "Act how? I have to file a report." The sentence wasn't emotional. It wasn't negotiable. My phone buzzed on the table. "Mom, whatever they're telling you isn't the full picture." I didn't pick it up. "They don't get to rewrite this," the doctor said calmly. "Medical records don't work that way." A knock came at the door. A woman stepped in and introduced herself as a hospital social worker. Her voice was gentle, but everything she said felt heavy. "We're here to make sure this stops," she said. Stops. That was the word that finally broke through. Looking at the scans again, the healed damage, the misalignments, the proof etched into my body, I understood something I'd never allowed myself to see before. It hadn't been one incident. It hadn't even been a phase. It had never stopped. The doctor gathered printed copies of the scans and placed them in a folder. "These speak for themselves," she said. "No one can explain them away." Outside the room, I heard voices, familiar ones. My parents had arrived. The social worker glanced at me. "They want to see you," she said, "but that's not their decision anymore." Not their decision. For the first time, the story wasn't being debated. It was being documented. The scans didn't just prove I was telling the truth. They proved how long everyone else helped hide it. And when my parents finally walked into the room, they realized too late that the evidence had already spoken, and someone else was about to listen. My parents didn't rush into the room. They paused just inside the doorway, as if stepping any farther would make this permanent. My mother's eyes went straight to my back, not my face, not my expression. She was checking for exaggeration. "She's always been sensitive," she said lightly. "She worries easily." No one responded right away. The doctor looked down at the folder in her hands, then back up. "What we're discussing," she said evenly, "is repeated physical trauma." "That's a strong accusation," my mother replied, her smile tightening. "It's not an accusation," the doctor said. "It's imaging." My father stepped forward. "We don't want this blown out of proportion," he said. "Families have disagreements." The word disagreements sat in the air, wrong and small. "Intent isn't relevant here," the doctor replied. "Only damage." That was the first real crack. My mother tried again, lowering her voice. "Let's not involve outsiders," she said. "We can handle this privately." The social worker spoke without raising her voice. "That option isn't available anymore." Silence followed. My mother finally turned to me. "Why didn't you say something sooner?" she asked. The question wasn't concern. It was blame, dressed up as confusion. I felt the familiar pressure rise, the instinct to explain, to soften it, to apologize so this would calm down. I didn't. "I did," I said. "You told me to stop causing problems." My father stared at the floor. My mother shook her head slowly. "That's not how I remember it." "That's how it happened," I said. No shaking, no raised voice, just facts. My father cleared his throat again. "So what happens now?" he asked. The doctor answered. "There will be a formal report," she said. "Protective measures will be put in place." My mother's face tightened. "Protection from who?" she demanded. No one answered. They didn't need to. A knock came at the door. This one was firmer than the others. The doctor opened it. A uniform stood outside, waiting patiently. My mother's mouth opened, then closed. For the first time since I'd been hurt, no one asked me to apologize. Denial doesn't always sound like shouting. Sometimes it sounds like calm voices trying one last time to rewrite the past. But once the door opened and the report was filed, there was only one question left. Who were they going to protect now? The hospital room felt different once everything was decided. Not calmer, Not safer. Just settled, like a door had closed somewhere behind me, and whatever came next would have to move forward without permission. Machines hummed softly. Nurses came and went, adjusting pillows, checking monitors, speaking in low voices that didn't ask questions. No one asked me to explain what happened. No one asked me to defend myself. A police officer stopped by later that day. He introduced himself, asked a few careful questions, wrote things down, and thanked me for my time. His voice was neutral, professional. He didn't look at me like a victim. He didn't look at me like someone brave. He looked at me like a record that mattered. My parents didn't come back. I knew they were still in the building. I could feel it, the way you feel pressure before a storm breaks. But they never opened the door. No last attempt to explain. No quiet request to speak alone. That silence told me more than words ever had. The social worker returned with paperwork and options. Temporary housing. A protective order. Numbers I could call if things felt unsafe after discharge. "There's no deadline on these," she said gently. "You don't have to decide today." Time. That word still felt unfamiliar in my mouth. Physical therapy began before I left the hospital. Slow movements, controlled steps. Pain that reminded me not everything would disappear just because the truth came out. "There may be limitations," the doctor said honestly. "Some injuries don't fully reset." I believed her. For once, I wasn't expecting everything to go back to how it was. When I was discharged, I didn't go home. I went somewhere small, quiet, temporary. A place where no one watched how I walked or asked why I moved carefully. A place where silence didn't mean danger. At night, memories surfaced without warning. Not just the violence, but the habits I'd built around it. The automatic apologies. The explanations I rehearsed before speaking. The way I used to brace myself when footsteps came too close. I noticed those instincts now. And slowly, I stopped obeying them. Weeks passed. Processes moved forward without me needing to chase them. Reports existed. Records were filed. People were talking not to me but about what had happened. That felt strange. And then lighter. One afternoon, I caught my reflection in a mirror. Not checking for bruises, not rehearsing excuses, just standing there. I wasn't fixed. I wasn't broken. I was no longer being corrected. The truth didn't erase the past. It didn't bring closure. But it did something quieter and more lasting. It stayed. The truth didn't give me justice. It gave me space. And for the first time in my life, no one else gets to decide what I do with it.